Okay, we're going to talk about the LSU Tigers of 2024. Their football team, hilariously, could be considered a disappointment by the standards of LSU and of Brian Kelly. I mean, we're talking about they lost 4 games, and a couple of those losses were to teams that people are sitting there going, why? So they went 9-4 on the season. That included being able to go to the Kinder's Texas Bowl. So we're going to talk about how this really was a disappointing season for LSU. I mean, here's a team that if they had been able to convince Saban to stay, probably would have 10 national championships. 2019 was their last one. Here is a situation that needs to be looked at, and you've got to wonder if they're going to improve. It wasn't that they were a bad team, it's just they weren't what LSU and Kelly should expect. So let's get into this. Hey folks, this is Paul with Redneck Sports. I want to thank you for viewing my video, and I want to give you one thought process. There was a famous coach at the University of Tennessee by the name of General Robert Neyland. He had 6 maxims, but number 2 maxim is what everybody should apply to their life. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. That's how to live your life right there. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at is their record. They started out losing to number 23 USC 27-20. Considering what USC ended up the year doing, Brian Kelly, this probably hurt Brian Kelly more than some of the losses down the road. They beat Nichols, not as soundly as you would think they would. South Carolina they beat by 3. UCLA they beat 34-17. That was impressive, but it was UCLA at the same time. UCLA was not that impressive of a team. Now they beat South Alabama in a way they should have beat South Alabama, especially considering South Alabama was a little underrated, in my opinion. Most people don't realize that. They beat Ole Miss 29-26 in overtime. They beat Arkansas pretty nicely, but then they went on a 3-game losing skid. 38-23 loss to Texas A&M, a good Texas A&M. So let's not give that one. They lost to Alabama 42-13. It's Alabama, but this is a big rivalry game, and Alabama came to them. So when your fans watch you in Death Valley lose 42-13, yeah, that's going to put you in a hot seat. But then they lose to Alabama. They go to the swamp and they lose in a game that was 27-16. They lose by 11 points, double digits. That's not a good sign either. Now, they were able to come back and beat Vandy by a touchdown, and they beat Oklahoma pretty convincingly. Then they go to the Kinder's Texas Bowl, 44-31 against Baylor. Okay, but you've got to take a look at those 4 losses. Florida, really? Yeah, you should have played Alabama a whole lot better, even though, hey, you lost to them, but that how you lost to them. And then USC, that one. But let's get into, we're going to start with a little bit about Garrett Nussmeier. The first thing to say about Garrett Nussmeier, at least this guy bleeds purple and gold. That's the only good thing for LSU. He, this year, threw for 4,052 yards. That's some that's a nice thing that he did right there. 29 touchdowns but 12 interceptions. He only got sacked 16 times. Considering the games that they were playing against, him only getting sacked 16 times is actually really good. Should have been better, but the 12 interceptions on 29 touchdowns. Now, he rushed for 3 touchdowns himself, and he's a junior. So this coming year, he's going to be a senior. He had a 64.2 completion ratio. The year before that, 61.5, 61.9 the year before that. He's been getting a little bit better, but he's still got an interception issue, which, he's a good quarterback. He bleeds purple and gold, but seriously, he needs to be a little bit more of a threat. He rushed 34 times for minus 38 yards. That's not good. He only rushed in for 3 touchdowns, so he's not a dual threat quarterback. He's not an RPO quarterback. He's somebody that, you know, he's got to see the field. So let's take a look at the rest of the offense. Now, their leading rusher was Caden Durham, 6 touchdowns. Third leading rusher was Caleb Jackson. Oh, pardon me. Josh Williams was second leading rusher. I say Caleb Jackson, he didn't get any touchdowns. He's the third leading touch rusher. Caden Durham and Josh Williams each had 6 rushing touchdowns. Think about that. Both of them are running backs. 140 carries for Durham, 117 for Williams. 753 yards, 482 yards. They had no rushing attack. You have to have some ground and pound. Now, when it comes to receiving, Aaron Anderson, 61 receptions, 884 yards, 5 touchdowns. Kyron Lacy, 58 receptions, 866 yards, 9 touchdowns. Mason Taylor, 2 touchdowns, 55, 546. Uh, Caden Durham, as a running back, got 2 touchdowns, receiving 28 receptions. Chris Hilton Jr., 9 receptions, 3 touchdowns. Xavier Thomas, 2 on 23. Fredez Green, 13-4. Kyle Parker, 3-1. And Juwan Johnson, safety. Yeah, safety, 5-1. Think about this for a second. That's your offense. I can understand why people are looking at Brian Kelly and going, that's not LSU. And it isn't. Their offense was not an LSU offense. So let's take a look at their defense now. Their leading tackler on defense was Whit Weeks, 120 tackles. That's pretty good. Zai Alexander, their cornerback, had 2 interceptions. You take a look at their numbers. Whit Weeks was a little overpowered. That sounds weird, I know. But as a team, they only had 6 interceptions all year. They had Devon Keys got an interception and got a TD off of it. You had Whit Weeks 120, Greg Penn 84, Brandon Swenson 59, and then it goes down from there. Okay, they had a decent defense. I mean, they had tackles, they were doing some decent things, but seriously, that was you're over relying on Whit Weeks, who I'm not saying is that's a bad player. I'm saying that the rest of the team needs to step up, which Greg Penn did, but it's the rest of the team. You should not have one player doing that many. And he wasn't even the leading sacker. You had Brandon Swenson, who had 8.5. Zavon Jones had 4.5. 2.5 for Jabeer Suggs. Why do people have to have these names for us they want to make fun of us rednecks, I swear to all that is holy. But that's the problem. They they had a decent defense. They had a good defense in a way, but they didn't have an overpowering defense. Now, Brian Kelly's going to have to do a lot more. The offense that they had this past year was one sided and wasn't even that exciting. Their defense was good, but it wasn't outstanding. It had, Garrett Garrett Nussmeyer, sorry, had his flashes. You had some flashes here and there with weeks, but it really wasn't that exciting. You take a look at what LSU's got this coming year. Okay, they've got Clemson. They should they should be able to beat Clemson. Notice I said should be able to beat Clemson. If they don't, well, they've got they're playing and they're at Clemson. So they're going into another Death Valley. They've got Louisiana Tech. Then they've got Florida, Southeast Louisiana, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vandy, A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and Oklahoma. Now, I'm not even going to make a prediction. That is how confusing Brian Kelly has me right now. He needs a better offense, and his defense needs. You've got a few good players, but you need to have some folks stepping up. It's one of those situations of, are you going to step up at the right times? I don't know if I don't know what you're going to get next year. Are they going to have a bowl? Are they going to be bowl eligible next year? Yes. Looking at this schedule, they'll beat Louisiana Tech, Southeast Louisiana. They should be able to beat Vandy. They should beat Clemson. Arkansas, Western Kentucky's a guarantee. Arkansas and Oklahoma should be wins for them. This should be a winning season, and they should go to a decent bowl game. That is not what LSU fans want, and not from somebody who has the record that he does in Brian Kelly. So this is going to be one of those seasons that he could be put on the hot seat quickly starting at Clemson. He may be in the hot seat now, we don't know, but yeah, LSU is going to expect a whole lot more out of this team. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. I want to thank you for watching my video. And if you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and comment. Y'all have a good day now.